Have you heard of Walk Away, the Walk Away campaign? I've been listening to people tell the stories of why they decided to leave the Democratic Party or stop being a liberal, I guess. Well, they're not stopping being a liberal, and that's the sad part. And that's kind of the heart of the campaign, I think, is people saying, you don't represent me anymore. I don't even recognize you guys anymore. What is this? You're just flabbergasted by how people could become so extreme. And you're shocked by the level of lies the media will tell. And you find yourself choking back a lot of what you want to say because it's like something has come over all the people that still watch the mainstream news and only the mainstream news and who are stuck in a bubble, really.
Once upon a time, I was a liberal. But liberalism has changed, and I will no longer be a part of an ideology or political party that represents everything that contradicts my values of unity, equal opportunity, personal empowerment, compassion, and love. So I am walking away. And I encourage all of you to do the same. Walk away.
That is Brandon Straka, who has created quite a stir in recent days over his high-profile decision to leave the left behind because of their overzealous rhetoric and violent protests. Earlier, I sat down with Brandon to talk about his decision and some of the reaction to it. Take a look. Brandon Straka, thanks so much for joining us tonight. You are a very interesting man. And let me just say that you have been a lifelong liberal.
Yes.
And then you drifted.
I did.
What changed?
Well, I just became more aware as time went on that, you know, the identity politics and the politically correct culture was getting very out of control. But in terms of me actually switching parties, it was after the election of Donald Trump because I voted for Hillary, and I was on Facebook crying, wondering what had gone wrong, what happened to the good people of Middle America. And but a friend of mine reached out to me and showed me a YouTube clip, which was basically compilation footage showing all these different ways in which the media had taken moments out of context in Donald Trump's campaign and spun it and created a narrative that he was a racist, a bigot, a homophobe. And in fact, I even saw another video showing black people who had gone to a Trump rally to support him. And when CNN showed up, they intentionally cut them out of the shot, so it appeared that there were only white people there. So it began to paint a picture for me that the media had been incredibly dishonest about their narrative of who Trump was and who his supporters were.
So when Trump talks about fake news, you find that to be accurate?
Well, I didn't used to, but now it's yes, I know it's accurate.
What's up, guys? You know what? So I can't leave this walk away campaign alone. I want to capitalize while, strike while the iron is hot. I didn't want to include this in my video yesterday just because I didn't want it to be too long. But there is one other huge elephant in the room as far as reasons why I walked away from the Democratic Party and I will never, ever vote for the Democratic Party again. And that reason is the myth that the party switched. At some point along history in America, that the Democratic Party and Republican Party magically did a big switch, and the Democrats, the bad guys, suddenly became the good guys, and the Republicans were the good guys and went from the good guys to being the bad guys. That Southern strategy that Richard Nixon wanted to campaign in the South just to be competitive is a myth. And the fact that I was taught that in school, knowing that the facts are out there, that the parties never switch, it just pisses me off. It's just a further validation that the public school system is failed. The fact that the government controls the indoctrination, they control the curriculum, therefore they control the narrative. It makes you wonder, what are kids learning today that we're going to see down the road is a lie? They're going to wake up and realize, wow, I was duped. They told me Donald Trump was a fascist. They told me Barack Obama was one of the greatest presidents in history. Kids could very well be learning that right now. I don't have kids right now, but when I do, you best believe I'll either be homeschooling them or sending them to private school or charter school, something else. They're not going to public school.
I was a big Bernie Sanders fan, just like everybody else. Everybody loved Bernie Sanders. Everybody believed in what he was doing. I mean, he hyped everybody up. He was even my man crush Monday. I mean, I got the receipts. I can go check it out. But everything that they were saying about Donald Trump, I would hear it in the news, and it was just reckless. And I just didn't want him to become president, and I just didn't understand how America was allowing someone like him to become president. I'm like, if he's so bad, then why is they allowing this? And then Hillary Clinton, even though her stuff was a secret, I just did not trust that bitch. I just did not trust her. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to pay attention to the election. America's failing us. I'm not going to pay attention. But when I would watch the news, the lunacy of the people on the news, I mean, they were going so crazy over Donald Trump. And they were talking about him so much that I was like, you know what? Let me tune in. Let me tune into what he's talking about. So I ended up watching the first debate. And when I watched the first debate, they asked him a question about black people. And he answered this question like I've never seen anyone answer it. And it's not about anyone running for president. It's about Bill Clinton. Like, even the way Bill Clinton talked about black people, I never heard nobody talk about black people the way he talked about black people. And it showed me that he understood our struggle. But I think Donald Trump is a man that wants America to be rich. And the only way America can be rich is if he make everybody rich. It's not just a select few. He wants to build the whole body up and make it strong. And that's what he's about. And that's what he showed me in that last election.
And so I've just always taught to be tolerant. But tolerance goes both ways. And I sent a comment to this friend of mine. And I said, you're trying to preach tolerance, but you're telling people that you're not tolerant of people that think differently than you. And guess who thought that way? The Nazis. And she didn't take that very well. In the comment, I mentioned that I worked in animal rescues for over 4 years. I have a lot of people working in animal rescues that think differently and different in the political stance than I do, but they're still good people, a lot of people volunteering. Anyway, so I wrote this all in a comment, and the response I got was horrible. I had people calling me Nazi. I had people saying, oh, well, if you support cats, then why do you support, all this stuff? And then they, all they do is just show me pictures of dead elephants. And it's like, well, I don't agree what you believe in, but I still know that deep down you're a good person. But I guess you can't see, your tolerance only goes so far. And that was, the last straw. And it's really been an eye-opener for me. And I am proud to say that I've walked away. I can't have my heart broken constantly anymore. I'm done.
I guess I'm more afraid of coming out as a conservative with my friends than I ever was coming out as a gay woman in a mostly conservative community. And that's really sad to me. I was lucky enough to actually find probably the only other conservative lesbian where I live in my city. And we're married now, and it's great, and it's wonderful, and we're happy. I don't know how I got so lucky, but I actually am authentically afraid of losing my friends. And it's so hurtful because I see all the things that they post on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. And if they knew that I was a conservative, they would know that they're basically attacking me personally and condoning harassment and violence and hate against me. One of my best friends is transgender, and he wasn't when I met him. He was a she and she was a lesbian, and and I've supported him his entire journey. I was there for his first T-shot. I was a backup dancer in his first drag king show, and I've been very supportive of this, and I will go take care of him whenever he has top surgery. And I'm afraid that if I tell my friends, I'm going to lose my friends because I can't be who I am, and I can't I can't be honest with this tolerant and loving and love is love community, because I don't feel the same way that they do about killing unborn babies, or about just having open borders, or about our president, and it makes me really sad. So I've really struggled with making this video, because I've never felt that in the Republican or the conservative community. I've never felt that kind of animosity. And so I guess I'm finally coming up to say that if I lose some friends because of this, then it is what it is, because I spent my entire life living in a closet and I can't do it anymore. And so I've decided that I have to walk away.
Really, guys? Like, it's madness, man. And then we got all these silly protests. And trust me, I'm a big supporter of protests. But you got to know how to protest. You got to understand. You can do a protest about anywhere, about anything. I get that. But you got to know exactly how to protest. When you protest without meaning, you sort of make the cause look like the cause look fraudulent, and you make yourselves like idiots, don't you? Like, when you protest, when you make a protest for illegal immigrants, and you just don't acknowledge the fact that they broke the law, you kind of make yourself look like a moron. Because, like, then, like, the Republicans are going to post videos of Obama saying that he supports getting rid of illegal immigrants in America. Like, and they're going to win. Because, like, that, you supported it when Obama did it. Why don't you support it now? You sound ridiculous. You sound like hypocrites. I could go on and on. I can go on about fake news all day. Because the fake news didn't do it. The fake news didn't turn me off from Democrats. Come on. Like, that did it. That took the punch. I was still like kind of leaning liberal on that one. I was still leaning like, hey, maybe like they can get me back, until they start doing all this like all the Trump news, all this anti-Trump news, this fake news and stuff. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. I just saw an article saying that Trump is more crooked than Hillary, which is just fantastic, because they're finally admitting that Hillary Clinton is a dirty rat. They wouldn't really admit it within the last 2 years, but now, like, you know, now that Hillary Clinton is completely off the radar, they feel safe to actually admit, hey, I voted for Hillary Clinton. I knew she was a fraudulent scam artist, but hey, better than Trump. Craziness, guys. It's mass madness. Just walk away. Anyone watching this video, right? Don't listen to me, right? I'm just giving you my first-hand experience of what made me walk away. But anyone, like, do your research on it. Do your research. Don't just follow anything that they're saying, right? They're calling us Russian bots now. Like, anyone's doing a hashtag walk away. Do I like a Russian bot? God, do I like I drink potato vodka? No, I'm not a Russian bot. CNN, all right? I'm walking away. You made me walk away. I packed my bags, getting on that plane. Country road, take me home, right? Take me to Tennessee. I don't give. I'm off. I'm walking away. We're out of here.
Hi guys, I'm CJ Pearson. Democrats have long forsaken the black community, and this is no recent occurrence. Ever since the founding of the party, Democrats have used and abused people of color in this country. If you think of every racist, vile organization that has erected itself in this country's history, it was all founded by Democrats. From the KKK, to segregation, to Jim Crow, to slavery, all of it, founded by Democrats. Those are all indisputable historical facts. Now, this is the same party that likes to claim today that Black Lives Matter, but has also, brought about the destruction of inner cities across America. Look at Chicago, for one, where black babies can't even play outside on the sidewalk without the threat of a bullet being lodged in their cranium. Or maybe we could look at Detroit, where 30-plus years of Democratic leadership have led the city to a state of total and complete financial insolvency. Democrats like to claim that Black Lives Matter, but I don't think they do. I think black votes do, but black lives, not too much. And if they do matter to Democrats, they have a really funny way of showing it. It is long overdue for people of color and black folks in this country to open their eyes and to just realize that Democrats don't care about us, not one bit. They walked away from us a long time ago, and it's time for us to do the same. To realize that Democrats haven't been delivering for us, but the other side, much more so. Like Donald Trump, who's brought about the lowest black unemployment rate in our nation's history. And it has brought about rising wages in the black community like we've never seen before. And we can also talk about the broader Republican Party that, you know, supported the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and also, you know, freed the slaves. Those are all historical, indisputable facts that Democrats don't want you to know because those facts are freeing. They make you think for yourself, they make you demand more, demand better, and they don't want you to do that. Their entire grip on power rests on the control of black minds. And we're better than that. We deserve better than that. And that is why it is time for us to walk away.
What's going on, everybody? So I'm out at the pool watching my son swim around, and I think he thinks he's a fish, but I digress. But anyway, I wanted to make this video just to tell a quick, I guess, summary why I make the bold statement to say that the Democratic Party hate black people. And this is something that it took a while for me to realize, a while for me to understand. It took a little bit to chew on, kind of like a piece of steak. Steak is very difficult to chew and digest. But it was a piece of steak for me to chew and digest the fact that the Democratic Party historically has hated black people. Now, nowadays, people will argue that the Democratic Party hates America and hates everybody, and I would concur with that argument. But when you look at history and you look at the people that are being used, abused, and tricked and conned into supporting the Democratic Party, I have to say the race that's getting the raw end of the deal is black people. And the reason I say that is because for years and years and years, people have told us that we should vote Democrat, that the Republicans are racist, that the Republicans don't care about black people, that the Republicans are somehow anti African-American agenda, African-American expansion, prosperity. And it has all been a lie. It's unfortunate because a lot of us believe it blindly. You know, I consider myself a passive-aggressive Democrat. I voted for Barack Obama in his second term. If you would have asked me was I Democrat or Republican my whole life, I would have said a Democrat. And to be honest, until now, I don't even know why I would even say I was a Democrat. I didn't even know the difference between the Democrat and the Republican Party. If you would ask me what a conservative was, I wouldn't have known. This is the honest to God truth.
All right, what's good, everybody? Today is Tuesday, 17th of July, 2018, and I'm officially giving you my walk away. So, why did I decide to walk away from the Democratic Party? I was raised in a Democratic household in New York City, predominantly. Every African American here is a Democrat, and I'm not lying. This is a blue state. I wanted to come before you today just to dump my truths and tell you why someone that's ex-felon and emerged in the hip hop culture as deep as I am, decided to move from the left to the right. Democrats are liars. All you've seen since you were a kid, if you were black, was these people give you promises on things they were going to change, how things were going to change, how things would be better. And the only thing I've seen is things become worse and worse. Hospitals are closing, schools are closing, and now the introduction to charter schools are here. I can't even understand what the difference between the two is. But I know that if one isn't working and another system has to step in, we have to think about who's responsible for it, who's running the system. It's the Democrats. Period. Destroyed the black family, destroyed the black home, introduced all of these bills that had African Americans like me, that was first-time offenders, doing years in prison for crimes where they could have just got probation and would have never committed a crime again. Fact, I was arrested 14 years ago for selling keys of cocaine. They didn't catch me selling keys of cocaine. No, not at all. Period. And I promise you, I'm not lying to you. They literally manufactured a number of coke that they decided that I was able to sell, and that's what they charged me with. Period. They took away 6 years of my life for something that I never did again. Never did again. Never. Ever, ever, ever did I ever sell crack cocaine again. I never did. Completely left it alone. These laws are made by Democrats. Federal sentencing guidelines, 3-strike laws. They came from the Clinton administration, who was one of the worst individuals on this planet. Has a black son. Yeah, I'm going to put this out there for y'all. I hope this fucking video does go viral. Has a black son. His wife didn't give a fuck about taking money from a whole bunch of other people, and she didn't give a fuck about the fact that he's a fucking serial rapist. All right? This isn't going to be one of those walkaways where I'm going to come in, I'm going to sound all polite, and I'm going to fix my voice, and I'm going to articulate myself to the best of my ability. No, fuck that. I'm going to tell you that I'm fucking fed up and I'm tired. I'm tired of the lies and I'm tired of the games. This guy's in office right now, Donald Trump. I'm sorry, President Trump. President Trump is in office right now. And instead of all these fucking Democrats sitting there saying, we're going to get rid of him, impeach him, impeach him, impeach him. Won't you introduce some fucking bills that can help change what the fuck is going on? Because here it is a man in office who's not responsible for none of this shit these fucking guys caused. Period. And they don't want to help dig us up out of this shit. All they trying to do is push it on television so you can see it, so they can say that he's a racist, he's this, he's that. Or you hear people saying, I hate Donald Trump, he's a racist, he's racist. And I ask him, what has he done to you? It's the things he said, but what has he done to you? It's the things he said, but what has he done to you? I can't be part of a party where you can't even articulate how you feel. If I can't have a set of my own values, and if I can't believe what I want to believe, and if I don't, then I'm ostracized by these motherfuckers. It's ridiculous. You have a bunch of uneducated motherfuckers following the same opinion. And I'm sorry to say this, but the majority of African Americans that are down with this motherfucking party are uneducated. You can't be highly educated because then you know that the history of your party is one of the Klansmen. That's right. Democrats think they didn't free the slaves. I know, it was about the money, whatever, but they didn't give a fuck about none of that. That's what the Confederates are the Democrats. Period. That's what it is. It's nothing that's never changed. And they're laughing at us. They come every 4 years to take, and they don't give you shit back. So I'm tired of it. I'm tired of giving excuses. They cheated Bernie fucking Sanders. They did all this lying for fucking Hillary. I'm tired of it. And you should be tired of it too.
So, to be honest with you, I saw and I was so angry at how much I was lied to by the media, because the Trump supporters were not anything like what they told me they were. So then I went down the rabbit hole and I started finding out how much they've lied to me my whole life. How much the media has lied to me my whole life. And I know people think I'm silly because they probably have known this for a long time. Unfortunately, I have my doctorate, but you can be intelligent but not wise. So I realized I had a very humble experience realizing that I was not wise. I got so angry I cut my cable. I will never watch the mainstream media again. I get my news from independent media, and I'm so much smarter than I ever have been, much more awake than I ever have been, and honestly much more free than I ever have been. To Trump supporters, I am so sorry for, even in the smallest way, if I contributed to your abuse, because I do feel like the media verbally abuses you nonstop. I am so sorry for any part I took in that. I may not deserve forgiveness because you guys have been treated so badly, but I hope I can earn it by being better and doing better, and I promise I will be better and I will do better. I don't think it matters who you vote for. You should never be abused, verbally abused, physically attacked, just because you have a different opinion, or because you voted for Bernie or Hillary or Trump or a third party. This is not how it should be in this country. And, the other thing too is with, illegal immigration, I see these people, more of the radical left, demanding that people treat them with kindness, compassion, and grace. You need to start doing that to your own American citizens, because you are not treating your American citizens with kindness, compassion, and grace. Because you're not doing that to people that support Trump. You're treating them like garbage. So don't demand that people treat illegal immigrants with kindness until you can start doing that, showing American citizens. That's my thoughts on that. And makes me sick that these people are demanding that when they're so abusive to their own people. I'm just very sorry. And I hope that this platform can bring freedom to people to talk to who they want, to vote for who they want, without people unfriending them, their family, cutting them off. This is not how this should be. People are allowed to have their different opinions without being called every name in the book. So for that reason, just the way the Trump supporters have been treated, and I didn't vote for Trump, so I don't want people to think that, just saying I didn't vote for him. I am very pleased with how he's doing. I am very, very pleased and surprised with how well he's doing. So I will say that I do respect our president. I've respected every president. I wasn't a fan of Obama. I didn't vote for Obama either time because I'm from Illinois and he was a senator from Illinois. So for me, that was a big problem because I know how corrupt Illinois is. So right away, I had an issue with him. But I always respected him, always, because he was the president. So I hate even saying until the Democrats can do better, I don't think I can forgive them for the Russia conspiracy, for how they treated Trump supporters, fellow American citizens. I can't forgive them for this. So for that reason alone, this independent voter will never vote Democrat again.
And I'm just tired of the hypocrisy. I'm tired of people who preach nothing but love and practice nothing but hate. I'm tired of white guys or white people being called racist because they don't believe in the welfare state. I'm tired of men being called sexist because they don't believe in killing babies in the womb. I just wondered, like, what's the big deal? Like, honestly, if someone disagrees with you, what is the big deal? I just don't understand. Like, everybody has a difference. Nobody agrees on everything. And it's like, you're not going to hate someone because you like cheeseburgers and they have pizzas. Or if they like pizzas, like, what's the difference between political views? I just don't understand it. Like I said earlier, I will be friends with anyone, as long as they respect me. And I don't know, I grew up thinking that Republicans were stupid or racist and sexist, and I'm just so glad that I grew out of the bubble that I lived in, and I no longer view half of the country as deplorable, I'll say.
Black sort of patriot here, walk away, trending hashtag. And what this is about is people walking away from the Democrat Party and liberalism en masse because of what's happening right now. Okay, so I saw this trending. I thought it was a great thing, and I didn't think to make a video of it because I walked away so long ago. But I have some new subscribers and some new followers, and I thought it was time that I thought it was appropriate for me to make my walk away story. So I'm on campus and I'm talking to these upperclassmen. I probably had this I'm a freshman look up about me when they approached me, and in the conversation, I'm sure I mentioned that this was my first year at UC Berkeley. And in the conversation, they said to me, one of them said to me, they go, "That is so cool that UC Berkeley lets you in because you're black. That is so cool to let you in because you're black." A white liberal looked at me and saw me as inferior and less to them, not as smart as them, and that UC Berkeley had to lower the standards to let me in. They knew nothing about me. They knew nothing about my background. They knew nothing about my talents. They were judging me on the color of my skin, well-meaning as it may be. They judged me by the color of my skin and thought that I was inferior to them. And that's what opened my eyes. I started to observe white liberals. And almost everything they said and they did, voter ID laws, and we have to have quotas, and we have to have affirmative action, and we have to have all these government programs, and we have to coddle black people and Hispanics because they're not as smart, they're not as bright, and they're not as good as we white people are. They never said that about Asians. They never said that about other minority groups. But they sure were always looking down on blacks. And that's what opened my eyes. That was the beginning of my walk away. I actually ran away.
Hello to my friends at the Walkaway campaign. I'm very glad to have found this group, which for me has been a great source of healing and a comfort in knowing that I'm not alone when for a long time I felt like I was. We all know the typical reasons for walking away, whether it was being told that you were responsible personally for the deaths of innocent children because you support the Second Amendment, or being called a racist because you don't want open borders and anarchy. We've all been there, and we've all been bullied, and that's why we've walked away. I wasn't sure what I wanted to talk about in this video until today, and now that everyone is talking about the crisis at the border, we really need to talk about rape. My walkaway moment began when I was raped in a liberal safe space. It was a party full of drugs and alcohol, and I was taken advantage of when I was passed out in an attic. My so-called friends, all liberals, told me that it wasn't my fault, and of course it wasn't. But they proceeded to try and tighten our social circle as if that was going to keep predators out from parties where everyone is drunk and on drugs. I realized that things don't work that way, and that what happened to me was not my fault, but I learned that I had to protect myself, because if I hadn't been passed out drunk at a party, it never would have happened. You can't tell people not to rape and expect rape to stop, and you can't teach consent at college campuses and expect that people are never going to do evil things. That was the dark lesson that I learned, and that was a big part of what caused me to walk away.
Hi, my name is Lily, and I'm not a Russian bot. I'm just a Russian. And as somebody who was raised in Russia, I was always pretty conservative. Then this started to change when I moved to San Francisco a few years ago. A very, very liberal city. When I started to meet people who, of course, were all leftists, I felt that they were very kind and sweet and sensitive, and I thought that was beautiful. I love that. Then over time, I noticed that no matter what I said in random conversations, they would find something to be offended about, triggered. They would start to lecture me, criticize me in group settings, become aggressive about it. I like to think that I'm a nice person, so I tried to adjust, and I started to really think about what I was going to say and how I was going to phrase it so that it wouldn't come out offensive. It was exhausting, and it got to the point where I was afraid to talk. If I disagreed with them on anything, then I was not a good person, automatically. After going through this for 2 years, I was completely brainwashed. I hated Trump, and here's the thing, I didn't know why I hated him. I had no arguments. I just knew that everyone else did. It was automatic. It's like I was supposed to feel this way because literally everyone else around me did. I forgot what it was like to think independently. A couple years later, something happened that finally opened my eyes. My favorite conservative speaker, Ben Shapiro, came to the Bay Area to speak at UC Berkeley. I was so excited, but I didn't go. I didn't go because I was honestly afraid for my life. And here's why. They needed 3 helicopters, 600 policemen to ensure everyone's safety from the violent left. $1.5 million was spent on security alone, and all because of the violence that was around us. Okay, Berkeley offered free therapy for students who didn't even have to go and see him or be anywhere around him. And all for what? For 5'9" Jewish guy to go on stage and speak in the microphone for half hour? This would never happen to anyone on the left.
When my parents came here in the 80s, I was born about a couple years later, and ever since then I am proud to be an American. You know, I get to enjoy the liberties that I have today, to this very day. I would say that I've never regretted being American at all. I don't feel oppressed. Okay. I'm not going to hold a grudge on some, let's say maybe white person that committed an act of racial tension or violence like 40, 50 years ago. You know, I don't care about that because that's history. You know, we learn history because we learn from our mistakes, not to repeat them. And what the left is doing now is they're trying to push this hateful rhetoric about people that don't agree with them, people that basically that side with, that are either simply have a different political view or be labeled as either a fascist, a racist, a bigot. And it'll get to the point where some of them will either even verbally attack and physically attack people. And that's where it gets to the point where I just feel that I can't really be silent about that anymore. And, you know, the United States has these Bill of Rights or constitutions, has the Constitution for a reason. It's to grant liberty, you know, to those people that want to escape from that tyranny. My parents came to this country because they wanted to escape tyranny. And the rhetoric and the agenda that the left is pushing as of right now was the very reason that my parent or my relatives fled. And yet they're trying to bring that here. My grandparents have passed away now. But at the same time, I'm also kind of glad that they're not here to see the kind of hate and the kind of political agenda that they are trying to push, because I know they will not stand it. And they will not stand for it. And they will not tolerate that kind of rhetoric being shoved down our throats. But do I hate the left just for saying this stuff? No. But at the same time, I also don't feel that they should be shoving their views down our throats, and that we all should have our own political views, regardless of what political party you are. But in the meantime, I'm also supporting the side of the conservatives and our president is because of the extreme bias and, like I said, the extreme hate that the left is trying to push. And it's just basically, you know, gave me the impression that they don't stand for equality, for freedom, you know, for tolerance. They don't stand for any of that. The left doesn't stand for any of that. And so anyway, that's my #walkaway story on why I was a Republican, and why the reason why my family is Republican was to flee from communism, flee from dictatorship, you know, free from government control. And this is my message to a lot of the people that have walked away. And as a registered Republican, I welcome you. Proud to be in America. Proud to be an American. Welcome aboard.
I am so thankful for this #walkaway and its whole movement that it's got going on right now, especially right now before the 4th of July. What better time? I myself came from a family that always voted Democrat because it was supposed to be the right thing to do. Don't know where that idea came from. I never truly identified as either left or right because I felt more of a libertarian who was moderate. It wasn't about the side. It was about the value and, the core of the issue where I based my opinions on, not a side. That's ridiculous. I never voted before Trump because I saw, and what I saw led me to believe that no matter who got elected, the same things would happen. You got the same people providing the funds to both the Democrat and the Republican that are running for office or presidency. So no matter who wins, they control them, which is a problem. Trump had no strings attached. I loved that. Whether good or bad, whatever he did would be better for the country because I don't know who's pulling the strings of the other candidates. And I don't trust that my well-being is at hand when they're pulling strings. So Trump, whether good or bad, the idea of a Trump is what I voted for. The left right now, the progressive left, it's unimaginable what's happening. As soon as Trump said he was running, when I heard his announcement and I liked it, but what I really liked, what really sold me on Trump is immediately every news station was bashing him, like blowing him up, tearing him down. And as a libertarian, that's a sign. That's a big sign that they're terrified of him. He is not allowed to win. They will not allow it. So I never thought he had a chance, but I strongly backed him as a libertarian and with him not having any PACs behind him. And it's just gotten worse every day, every minute, every second. The left gets so much worse. Right now, it is unbelievable what's happening in this country. Venezuela is fighting to get away from socialism while the liberal Americans are fighting for socialism in their own country. They have no idea what they're fighting for. They're brainwashed. It's all hate. As a white Christian man, I'm screwed. It's just bad. I can't even, I have to hold my tongue everywhere about what I believe in fear of my safety. And that's just not right. I don't know what's going on, but it has to stop. Please walk away, walk away. Just open your eyes. Do research. Don't just believe what you see on Facebook because they're part of the shit too. They're all a part of this shit. Walk away.
I hated you, America. I hated everything about you. I hate everything you stood for. I hated your freedom. I hated your Constitution. I hated your freedom of speech when that speech did not align with my own beliefs. I hated the right that you gave your people to bear arms. I hated your slavery period. I hated your racism. I hated your favoritism of one group of your people above the rest. I hated your capitalist system. I hated your income inequality and your social injustices. I hated your intolerances. I hated your wars. I hated your domination in the world. I hated your discrimination against women. And I hated much more about you, America. But I was wrong, America. You are much better than that, America. You're much more greater than that, and you're much more magnificent than that. I was deceived, America. I was deceived. And today I acknowledge that I was wrong, and I acknowledge that mistake. America, I was taught to hate you by the political left. I was taught to hate you by mainstream media, by MSNBC, by CNN and New York Times and many others. I was taught to hate you by my professors. I was taught to hate you by the countless authors that wrote books about you. But they were wrong, America. They taught me to hate you because you dropped the most dehumanized and vicious weapon and vicious bomb in the world, the nuclear bomb. But they did not teach me that it was necessary, that you were forced to use it, America, for the greater good. They taught me that your capitalist system generates income inequality and social injustices. But they did not teach me that your capitalist system, the system that you created, America, lifted up hundreds of millions of people up from poverty. They taught me that you love wars, America, and that you love blood. They were wrong, America. They did not teach me that you saved the world, the entire world, countless times, in World War I, in World War II, in Cold War, from communism that massacred at least 100 million people, from communism that this country defeated and to which the left is trying to revive. They were wrong, America. They taught me that you were racist, America, but they did not teach me that the Democratic Party invented the KKK and implemented Jim Crow laws. They were wrong, America.
I want to talk about how the Democrat and Republican Party never switched. And I don't need all of the dates and all the historical facts for it because it's just so plain to see. You know, how about this? We all know the Republican Party was founded in 1854 in opposition to slavery, right? To keep it from expanding to the West. And, you know, the Civil War happened as a result of it. And they won. And the Republican Party supported the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments for slaves. You know, freeing the slaves, making them citizens, allowing them to vote. The Democratic Party was against it, against all three of those amendments, right? Then you have the first black politician ever was Republican. Martin Luther King was a Republican. You know, the only reason that there was a switch was the black voter switched from the Republican Party to the Democratic Party. So the only strategy that really happened was the welfare strategy. That's right. The LBJ Act, I believe it was 1964, the Great Society Act, where he realized, okay, well, blacks are voting now, so that means that their vote makes a difference. We have to figure out a way to get them. I'm probably butchering the quote, but he pretty much said, you know, I'll have those N-words voting Democrat for the next 200 years. We have to give them something, but not enough to make a difference. So insert the Great Society Welfare Act. And then ever since that Welfare Act, single motherhood in the black community is up like 73% since the 1960s. Also, the Planned Parenthood, you know, Margaret Sanger was like a lady Ku Klux Klan member. And she talked about eugenics and how black people need to be controlled by weeds. These are all facts that you guys can look up. You know, for anybody that's going to come in the comment section, talk about this walk away movement, is people bragging about going from Democrat to Republican. It's not even about that. It's about breaking away from the narratives, you know, detaching yourself from your victimhood status, this sacred cow status that's been given to you by the Democrats, and become a sovereign, free-thinking individual that you were born to be. It's your divine purpose to be a free-thinking, independent person. So back to this whole Democrat-Republican switch, right? So you had Margaret Sanger with Planned Parenthood, which, by the way, Planned Parenthoods are mostly in minority communities. Go look across all of America. They're mostly in minority communities. Eugenics is a real thing. They're actually doing eugenics in Iceland right now. But eugenics in America was used to, you know, try to exterminate the black race. And with the Welfare Act that was passed by LBJ, you know, that got black people voting Democrat. But the difference is they had to get the parent out of the home, the father out of the home. So what did that do? That means kids were growing up without a parent, without their father. And then you incentivize single mothers to marry the government. And then fathers weren't able to get jobs. They were locked up. And then insert Bill Clinton in the 90s with his Crime Bill Act, supported by Democrats, not supported by Republicans. See, it's coincidence, right? Right? You're going to say the party switched, yet the Republicans have had their fingerprints all over everything having to do with freedom. They've always been the party of freedom. The Democratic Party has always been the party of slavery, Jim Crow, KKK, all the segregation laws. You know, they voted against all of the civil rights legislation. They filibustered stuff, you know. That filibuster rule was made famous by Democrats, you know. So Bill Clinton, with his crime bill, locked up more black men than any other president in United States history. Okay? So, the historical facts are there. But if people want to deny the historical facts, okay, let's talk about modern day Democratic Party, modern day slavery, modern day slave plantations, okay? So, use the eye test. Go to any mostly black Democrat-run city. You know, your Cleveland, your Chicago, Detroit, Baltimore, Philadelphia, Memphis, Oakland. They're shithole cities. I mean, let's call it what it is. I mean, these cities have all the elements of a modern-day slave plantation. You have your Democratic mayor, your poverty pimp, your Maxine Waters. These are the gatekeepers. These are the plantation owners, you know, or plantation masters. They're pretty much just running the show. They come out, get your vote every 4 years or every 2 years, and they talk about what they're going to give you, while also smearing Republicans, talking about Republicans want to take away your freedom, want to take away your handouts, your programs, your housing, your food. Republicans, all they want to do is suggest that you're smart enough to do it on your own. You don't need the government. But black people, their minds have been conditioned. And not just black people, I mean Hispanics too. Pretty much anyone that's below the poverty line, living in one of these cities, they feel like the Democrats are really for them. So they follow that narrative. They believe into it. They're a sacred cow. They're part of the group. They're part of the identity group where it's like, you're the victim. Vote for me. I'll make sure you have food stamps. We're going to get you reparations. People eat that up, man. People eat it up. But the modern day slave plantation has all the elements. You have the slave master, which is a congresswoman like Maxine Waters, or a mayor. You have your Al Sharptons. You have your poverty pimps. Then you have substandard housing. You have your handouts, which is pretty much just like master giving out the scraps, giving out food. Master's taking good care of you. Then it's overrun with police, you know, locking people up. There's a lot of crime. You don't have fathers in the homes. You have Planned Parenthood on every corner. You have failing infrastructure in these cities. And most of them had Democratic mayors since like the 40s, the 50s, the 60s. So you tell me if the party's really switched. I can't tell, because if you're looking at every one of these cities I just mentioned, how can you say that the party's actually switched and Democrats are for the people, you know? And now they found their new sacred cow. They've moved on from black people. Democrats are so over black people. Their new sacred cow, their new residual voting block that they're trying to finesse is the illegal immigrants. And what are they selling? They're selling, come on over here. They're using that big welfare magnet, bringing people up from Central and South America, knowing they're going to go on welfare right away. They're going to have kids here. They're going to bring kids over. They want instant amnesty for them because they know that that's going to build a residual voting block for them. That is all they want to do. So I could never vote for Democrats ever again. And don't ever talk to me about how the party switched. If the party switched, it would be so evident. These cities that are run by Democrats would be socialist utopias. They would just be utopias. There'd be trees sprouting everywhere. It'd be never a cloudy day in Cleveland. Jobs would be booming. Schools would be the best in the nation. No, instead it's some of the worst in the nation.